Have you ever wondered why we say thank you to the barista who makes our coffee or the waiter who brings our food? It seems so natural, right? But this simple act of courtesy has a rich history that's deeply woven into the fabric of our society. Let's take a journey back in time to understand how thanking service staff became a cornerstone of good manners. For much of human history, the concept of service was very different. It was often tied to systems of hierarchy and obligation. Think of feudal societies where serfs served lords. In those contexts, service wasn't a transaction, it was a duty. A thank you wasn't expected because the service itself was taken for granted as part of a rigid social structure. The relationship was one of power, not of mutual appreciation. So, when did things start to change? The shift began to take root with the rise of a merchant class and the growth of cities during the late Middle Ages and the Renaissance. As economies evolved, so did the nature of work. People started offering services not out of obligation, but in exchange for payment. Inns, taverns, and artisan shops began to flourish. This new commercial world introduced a different kind of interaction, one based on a voluntary exchange. This is where the seeds of thank you were planted. When you paid a craftsman for a well-made pair of shoes or an innkeeper for a warm meal, you were acknowledging the value of their skill and effort. The thank you became a social lubricant, a way to affirm that this was a positive and mutually beneficial transaction. It was a small but significant way to recognize the humanity of the person providing the service, moving beyond a purely functional exchange. The 18th and 19th centuries, with the Enlightenment and the Industrial Revolution, supercharged this evolution. Ideas about individual rights, personal dignity, and social contracts became widespread. At the same time, the service sector exploded. Department stores, grand hotels, and complex transportation networks emerged, creating a new army of service workers. During this Victorian era, etiquette and manners became incredibly important, especially for the rising middle class who wanted to display their refined social standing. Etiquette books detailed the proper way to interact with everyone, including staff. Thanking a shop clerk, a porter, or a domestic helper was framed as a sign of good breeding and moral character. It showed that you weren't an arrogant aristocrat who saw others as beneath you, but a respectable member of a modern, civilized society. It was about acknowledging the dignity of labor. Fast forward to today, and the service industry is a massive part of our global economy. From the gig economy driver who gets us home safely to the nurse who provides compassionate care, to the IT support person who patiently walks us through a technical problem, our lives are constantly supported by the work of others. In our fast-paced world, it can be easy to forget the person behind the service. We tap a button on an app and food appears. We scan a QR code and our order is placed. But behind every seamless transaction is a human being. Saying thank you pulls us out of that impersonal bubble. It's a moment of connection. It's a simple, powerful acknowledgement that says, I see you. I appreciate your effort. You matter. So, the next time you're handed your morning coffee or a cashier bags your groceries, remember the long journey that simple thank you has taken. It's more than just a word. It's a legacy of social evolution, a marker of respect, and a tiny, beautiful thread that connects us all. It costs nothing, but it makes our shared world a little bit warmer and a little more human. Thanks so much for watching and thinking about this with me. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into the things we often take for granted. See you next time.